Come on.
Our wife!
Our wife! Our wife!
Almost there! Ha!
Our wife! Our wife!
Legendary Kudi!
Our wife!
Honored. My husband is blessed. My husband is honored. Nanot.
Everyone called our wife. Have you ever loved someone so much that you forgot to love yourself? This is the story of Kudi, a woman so strong that people stopped calling her by her name. The whole village called her our wife. At first, she thought it was the biggest honor a woman could receive. She had no idea it would one day break her heart. The sun had barely risen. The village was already busy. Women carried baskets to the market. Men gathered under the big tree, talking about the new town hall they wanted to build. Inside a small compound, Kudi was already working. She swept the yard, fetched water, cooked breakfast, washed clothes, fed the chickens. By the time everyone else was waking up, she had already finished half of the day's work. She walked inside with a smile. "Husband, your food is ready." Femi stretched and yawned. Without even looking at her, he picked up the food. That was all he said. But Kudi smiled. To her, that was enough. "If my husband is happy, then I am happy," she whispered. Femi was handsome. He knew how to make people laugh. He also knew how to avoid work. Whenever people needed help, Femi always had an excuse. "My back hurts. I have an important meeting. I'll supervise." The funny thing was, nobody had ever seen him supervise anything. One hot afternoon, Femi's older brother walked into the compound. He looked worried. "Our water tanker is very dirty," he said. "We've been looking for workers all morning. No one is free." The family looked at the huge tanker. It was dirty from top to bottom. One man sighed. "This work is too much. We'll need several strong men." Before anyone could say another word, Kudi stood up. She picked up a bucket, a sponge, soap, and an old ladder. Everyone looked at her. "Kudi, what are you doing?" She smiled. "I'm cleaning it." The family laughed. "That tanker? It's too big." But Kudi didn't answer. She placed the ladder against the tanker, climbed to the top, opened the small cover, and climbed inside. The whole family stared. A few seconds later, they heard scrubbing. Scrub, scrub, splash, scrub. Then they heard singing. "My husband is the best.
My
husband is blessed.
honored.
My husband deserves
My
the best."
husband is blessed.
The family burst into laughter.
My
She's
husband is
singing while
honored.
cleaning.
Nanot.
Hours passed. The sun became hotter. But Kudi didn't stop. She scrubbed every corner, every wall, every inch. Finally, she climbed back out. She was covered in sweat. Her hands were dirty. Her clothes were soaked. One uncle looked inside the tanker. His mouth fell open. "It looks brand
our
new."
village.
Another man shouted. "Our wife has done it again." Soon everyone joined in. "Our wife, our wife, our wife." People clapped. Women danced. Children cheered. Femi slowly walked forward with a proud smile. He folded his arms. "My wife likes helping people," he said. The men surrounded him. "Femi, you're a lucky man. I wish my wife was like yours." Femi laughed proudly. "She's just doing her duty." Kudi looked at her husband. She smiled. Seeing him happy made her forget how tired she was. She believed every hard job she did was making her marriage stronger. But this was only the beginning. Soon, the whole village would ask her to do something no one thought was possible. After the tanker incident, Kudi became even more famous. Every week, someone came looking for her. "Our wife, can you help us harvest our cassava? Our wife, can you help repair the village well? Our wife, can you help clear another piece of land?" Kudi never said no. She smiled, picked up her tools, and got to work. Soon people stopped asking if she was available. They simply expected her to show up. One afternoon, the village wanted to build a new town hall. There was only one problem. The land was covered by thick bushes, tall trees, sharp thorns, long grass. Some men looked at the land and shook their heads. "This work will cost too much. We need many workers." Before they could finish talking, Kudi walked forward with one machete. "I'll do it." The elders laughed. "My daughter, this place is too big." But Kudi only smiled. She tied a wrapper tightly around her waist, lifted the machete, and started cutting. Slash, slash, slash. The sun became hotter. Sweat covered her face. Her hands became red. Still, she kept going. Hours later, the impossible happened. The land was clear. The whole village burst into cheers. Our wife! Our wife! Our wife! The elders stood under an umbrella, clapping proudly. One of them shouted, Femi is the luckiest man in this village. Another added, a real woman built her husband's name. Everyone looked at Femi. He smiled proudly. He waved at the crowd as if he had done the work himself. Kudi looked at him and smiled. She believed she was making him proud. But when nobody was watching, the smile disappeared. Late that night, Kudi sat outside the house. She slowly rubbed oil on her sore hands. Her palms were full of blisters. Her shoulders ached. Her back hurt. She could barely lift her arms. She looked down at her clothes. They were old, faded, torn in several places. She hadn't bought new clothes in a long time. Every naira she made from selling vegetables and roasted corn, she kept for the family. Just then, Femi walked outside. Kudi, yes, my husband? I need some money. She looked surprised. For what? Femi smiled. The men are gathering tomorrow. I need to look like an important man. I can't go there looking poor. Without asking another question, Kudi stood up. She went inside, opened a small wooden box. Inside were the little savings from months of hard work. She counted the money carefully, then placed it in Femi's hand. He smiled. Good. He put the money into his pocket. Then he walked away. He never asked if she had enough left for herself. He never noticed her torn clothes. He never saw the cuts on her hands. The next morning, Kudi's friend, Amara, came to visit. She found Kudi washing clothes by the river. Kudi, when did you last rest? Kudi laughed. I'll rest later. Amara held her hands. She looked at the deep blisters. My friend, you work too much. Kudi smiled. I'm fine. Amara shook her head. No, you are not fine. Look at your hands. Look at your clothes. You are always working. But when was the last time you bought something for yourself? Kudi became quiet. Amara continued. A husband doesn't love a woman because she suffers. He should love you because you are his wife. Rest. Buy yourself nice clothes. Take care of yourself. Kudi smiled and shook her head. You don't understand. Femi loves hardworking women. He tells everyone how proud he is of me. I'm doing all this for my marriage. Amara sighed. She wanted to say more, but she knew Kudi wouldn't listen. Sometimes, love can make people blind. A few weeks later, Femi's birthday was coming. Kudi wanted to surprise him. She had no money left, so she accepted the hardest job she could find. A trailer full of cement had arrived at a construction site. The workers needed help unloading hundreds of heavy bags. Each bag was almost as heavy as she was. The foreman looked at her and laughed. You can't do this. Kudi lifted the first bag onto her shoulder, then another and another. Hour after hour, she carried bag after bag under the hot sun. Her legs shook, her shoulders burned, her breathing became heavy, but she refused to stop. By evening, the trailer was empty. The foreman couldn't believe his eyes. He paid her. Kudi smiled. She went straight to the jewelry shop. She bought a beautiful gold chain. She held a small box close to her chest. My husband will be so happy, she whispered. That night, Femi dressed in his best clothes. He sprayed expensive perfume, adjusted his jacket, and picked up his car keys. Aren't we celebrating together? Kudi asked with a smile. Femi avoided her eyes. I have an important business meeting. I'll be back later. He left. Kudi looked at the gift in her hands. Something didn't feel right. Just then, Amara arrived. I saw Femi driving toward the city. That didn't look like a business meeting. Kudi looked at the small gift box, then at Amara. A few minutes later, the two women followed him. Neither of them knew. Their lives were about to change forever. Kudi stood outside the club. The small gift box was still in her hands. Her heart was beating fast. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe Femi really was inside for a business meeting. She took a deep breath. Then she walked in. The music was loud. Bright lights flashed across the room. People laughed. Champagne bottles popped. Rich men danced with beautiful young women. Kudi looked around. Then she froze. There was Femi. He was laughing, holding a bottle of expensive champagne. Young women surrounded him. He looked happier than she had ever seen him. Kudi slowly stepped behind the pillar. She didn't want him to see her. One of the ladies looked at Femi and laughed. Isn't that your wife? The woman everyone says clears bushes and carries heavy loads. The whole table burst into laughter. Femi laughed the loudest. Oh, that one? She isn't my wife. She's just my house help that I married. Everyone laughed again. Femi took another drink. She enjoys suffering. If she sees a mountain, she'll carry it. If she sees a forest, she'll clear it. The ladies laughed until tears filled their eyes. Then Femi smiled proudly. A man cannot spend all day with firewood at home and come to the club to dance with firewood. He stretched his arms toward the ladies. You girls are the real queens. Kudi felt her heart break. Everything around her became silent. She remembered the tanker, the forest, the sleepless nights, the blisters on her hands, the old clothes, the money she gave him, the birthday gift she worked so hard to buy. Tears filled her eyes. Slowly, she walked to the table. Everyone became quiet. Femi looked up. Kudi? Without saying a word, she placed the small gift box on the table. Inside was the gold chain she had bought for him. She looked at him one last time. Then she turned around and walked away. Outside, heavy rain began to fall, but Kudi didn't run. She kept walking. The rain washed away her tears. For the first time in many years, she wasn't walking to please someone else. The next morning, Kudi opened her eyes. For years, she had always jumped out of bed the moment she woke up. Sweep the compound, fetch water, light the fire, cook breakfast, wash clothes, start another long day. But today, she didn't move. She sat quietly on the edge of the bed. Her eyes rested on her hands. They were rough, covered with old scars, fresh blisters, deep calluses. These were not the hands of a woman who had been loved. They were the hands of a woman who had been used. A tear rolled down her cheek. Then she wiped it away. No more, she whispered. The kitchen stayed silent. The firewood remained untouched. The pots were empty. For the first time since she got married, Kudi did nothing. A few minutes later, the front door opened. Femi stumbled inside. His eyes were red. His clothes were wrinkled. The smell of alcohol and cheap perfume filled the room. He stretched his body and yawned. Kudi. No answer. Kudi. He walked into the kitchen. His face changed. The pots were empty. There was no soup, no yam, no tea, nothing. He frowned. Kudi. She calmly walked into the kitchen. Yes? Where's my breakfast? Kudi looked at him without smiling. Then she spoke quietly. A man cannot dance with firewood. You should ask your club girls to cook for you. The room became silent. Femi's eyes grew wide. He immediately knew. She had heard everything. Kudi, listen. I can explain. She folded her arms. I'm listening. Femi forced a laugh. It wasn't serious. I was only showing off. My friends were there. The girls were there. I had to talk big. You know I didn't mean it. Kudi remained silent. Femi stepped closer. You're making a big deal out of nothing. You're too emotional. After everything I've done for you, you want to destroy our marriage because of ordinary words? Kudi looked straight into his eyes. Ordinary words? You called me your house help. You laughed while they insulted me. You were ashamed of your own wife. Femi looked away. Instead of saying sorry, he became angry. So, what do you want? Should I kneel down? You're overreacting. You women like drama. Kudi said nothing. Her silence made Femi even more uncomfortable. He grabbed his phone. If you won't listen to me, my family will talk sense into you. An hour later, Femi's mother arrived. Behind her came two of his aunties. The moment they entered, they surrounded Kudi. My daughter, what is all this we are hearing? Femi's mother shook her head. So, because your husband went to a club, you want to scatter your home? One aunt pointed at Kudi. Our wife. A good woman doesn't throw away a marriage. You are stronger than this. Another aunt smiled proudly. Remember when you cleared the whole forest by yourself? The whole village praised you. You are not an ordinary woman. Don't allow small girls to take your place. Femi's mother held Kudi's hand. My daughter, a wife builds her home with her bare hands. Fight for your marriage. As they spoke, Kudi slowly looked around the room. Not one person asked, Kudi, are you hurt? Not one person asked, did Femi apologize? Not one person cared about her tears. They only cared about what she could continue doing. At that moment, there was another knock on the door. Everyone turned. A young man from the village stood outside. He smiled the moment he saw Kudi. Our wife, the community well is blocked. We need your strength. Please come and help us. The whole room waited for Kudi's answer. She looked at the young man, then at Femi, then at his mother, then at the aunties. Finally, she smiled, not because she was happy, but because she finally understood. They never loved Kudi. They loved what Kudi could do for them. Without saying a single word, she walked into the bedroom. She placed 2 dresses inside, her slippers, and the little money she had left. She walked back into the sitting room. Everyone stared at her. Femi laughed nervously. Kudi, where are you going? She stopped at the door. I spent years building a home. For people who only saw me as a worker, she looked at the young man outside. I'm sorry. I'm no longer our wife. Then she faced Femi one last time. I'm choosing to become myself. She walked out of the compound. This time, nobody followed her. Nobody stopped her. They all stood there in silence, watching the strongest woman in the village walk away with nothing but a small nylon bag and the courage to finally choose herself. The day Kudi left, Femi refused to admit he had made a mistake. He folded his arms and laughed. I don't need her. I'll show everyone. If Kudi can leave, I'll find someone even better. 2 days later, Candy moved into the house. She was one of the ladies Femi met at the club. She was beautiful, always dressed in expensive clothes. Her makeup was perfect. Her nails were long and shiny. Femi smiled proudly. He wanted the whole village to see her. This, he said, is a real woman. The neighbors looked at each other. Nobody said a word. The next morning, Femi woke up early. He smiled. Finally, someone else would take care of him. He waited. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Nothing. The kitchen was silent. No smell of soup, no boiling tea, no frying eggs. By 10 o'clock, Candy was still sleeping. At 12, she was still sleeping. Finally, at exactly 2 in the afternoon, she slowly walked into the sitting room, still wearing her silk pajamas, holding her phone. Without looking at Femi, she said, Babe, I'm hungry. Femi smiled. What would you like me to cook? Candy looked surprised. Cook? She laughed. I don't cook. Order food. She handed him her phone. I want grilled chicken, pizza, 2 milkshakes, and don't forget dessert. Femi blinked. That will cost a lot. Candy shrugged. So, use your card. The next day, Candy stood in front of a mirror for almost 2 hours. Babe, my face cream is finished. I need a new one. Femi asked, how much is it? Candy smiled. Only 200,000 naira. Femi almost dropped his phone. 200,000? She rolled her eyes. You want your woman to look beautiful, don't you? Femi forced a smile. Of course. He paid. The next week, she wanted new hair. The week after, a designer handbag. Then expensive shoes. Then another phone. Femi's money disappeared faster than rain on hot ground. Afternoon. Femi's mother came to visit. She smiled as she entered. She expected the warm welcome Kudi always gave her. Instead, Candy was lying on the sofa watching videos. Without looking up, she said, Close the door. Femi's mother looked confused. My daughter, I've just arrived. Candy finally looked at her, then frowned. Excuse me, you've brought mud into the house. Can't you see my rug? She pointed toward the floor. Clean your shoes. And next time, call a cleaning company. Femi's mother's mouth fell open. What did you just say? Candy shrugged. I'm not anybody's housemaid. If the house is dirty, pay someone. Then she put her headphones back on. Femi's mother looked at her son. Femi, is this the woman you chose over Kudi? Femi couldn't answer. Meanwhile, the whole village had its own problems. The land Kudi cleared for the new town hall was slowly becoming a forest again. Tall grass returned. Bushes grew everywhere. Nobody wanted to clear it. Whenever the elders asked for volunteers, everyone suddenly became busy. I have malaria. My back hurts. I have somewhere to go. The project stopped. The big water tanker became dirty again. People looked inside. It smelled terrible. Nobody wanted to climb inside. Everyone remembered Kudi. Our wife would have cleaned it, but she isn't here. The community well became blocked. Water stopped flowing. The youth leader called for strong men. Nobody came. The women shook their heads. If Kudi were here, she would have solved this before sunset. Only then did the village understand something. They had spent years clapping for her hard work, but never once asked if she was happy. Now, the whole community was paying the price. Back at home, things became worse for Femi. His savings were gone. His bank account became empty. His credit card stopped working. One evening, Candy walked into the bedroom. She was carrying 2 large suitcases. Femi looked up. "Where are you going?" Candy didn't even look at him. "You said you were a big man, but you're broke." She picked up her bags. "I don't date poor men." Femi ran after her. "Candy, please don't leave." She laughed. "You thought I came here to cook. I came here to enjoy life." She climbed into a waiting taxi. Without looking back, she drove away. Femi stood alone in front of his house. The compound was dirty. The dishes filled the kitchen. His clothes were piled on the floor. The yard was covered with weeds. The house that once felt alive had become empty. For the first time, Femi understood something. He had chased away the one person who truly cared for him and replaced her with someone who only cared about his money. But by then, Kudi was already building a brand new life, and she had no plans of looking back. Months passed. The woman everyone once called our wife was gone, but Kudi was not gone. She was becoming someone new. Every morning, she still woke up before sunrise. She still worked hard. She still loved working with her hands. The only difference was she no longer worked for free. She registered her own company, Iron Wife Logistics and Industrial Cleaning. She hired workers, strong men, hard-working women, professional drivers, cleaners, machine operators. Instead of carrying every load herself, she became the leader. She trained her workers. She signed contracts. She met with customers. She paid salaries every month. For the first time in her life, people respected her not because they could use her, but because she had built something valuable. She laughed more. She slept peacefully every night. One morning, the village leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. The drainage was still blocked. The town hall land was covered with thick bushes again. The dirty water tanker still hadn't been cleaned. One elder sighed. "We can't keep waiting. We need professionals." Another elder nodded. "I've heard about the best logistics and industrial cleaning company in the state. They can handle everything. Call them." The chairman picked up his phone. A date was fixed. The whole village waited. 3 days later, a shiny company pickup truck drove into the village. Behind it came 2 more trucks. All 3 carried the same company name, Iron Wife Logistics and Industrial Cleaning. Workers in matching uniforms stepped out. They unloaded modern equipment, brush cutters, safety helmets, industrial cleaning machines. The villagers watched in surprise. Then, a sleek black car slowly drove into the village square. It stopped. The door opened. A woman stepped out. She wore a fitted navy blue corporate jumpsuit. Dark sunglasses covered her eyes. Her hair was neatly styled. She walked with confidence. The whole village became silent. One old woman covered her mouth. "Is that?" Another whispered, "It can't be." Then someone shouted, "It's Kudi." The crowd gasped. The woman they once called our wife had returned, but she no longer looked like the tired woman who worked until her hands bled. She looked successful, confident, respected. Even the village elder stood up. Femi was standing at the back of the crowd. His clothes were old. His beard had grown. His slippers were worn out. The confident smile he once had was gone. When he saw Kudi, his eyes filled with tears. He pushed through the crowd. "Kudi." She stopped walking. Femi fell to his knees. People watched in silence. "Kudi, please. I'm sorry. I made the biggest mistake of my life. The house is empty. My life is empty. I know your value now. Please come back." Kudi looked at him calmly. There was no anger in her eyes, no hatred, only peace. She reached into her handbag. Femi smiled. He thought she was about to forgive him. Instead, she handed him a business card. Femi looked down at it. Iron Wife Logistics and Industrial Cleaning, Chief Executive Officer, Kudi. He looked back at her, confused. Kudi removed her sunglasses. Then she smiled. "I am no longer our wife, Femi. I am the CEO." She pointed toward the workers already clearing the drainage. "If your family needs my services, my company charges by the hour. If the community wants the bushes cleared, they can pay the deposit." She paused for a moment, then delivered the words Femi would never forget. "Or," she smiled, "pick up a machete and clear the bush yourself." The villagers lowered their heads. Nobody could argue with her. They all knew she was right. Kudi turned around. She got back into her car. The engine started. As the vehicle slowly drove away, The workers continued doing their job. Femi stood in the dust, holding nothing except a business card and the regret of losing the best woman he had ever known. Sometimes, the people who treat you like a tool will only see your true value after you stop working for free. Never confuse being useful with being loved, because real love does not make you earn your place through suffering. Know your worth, protect your peace, and never be afraid to build a life where your value is respected, not exploited. The end.